very few bands really manage to stick together for a long time. It's a good thing, really.
Do you think that maybe also the way that bands are together changed a little bit?
I love the way that Rami has captured not only Freddie's great power and ebullience, but also the sensitive side, the vulnerability of Freddie, of which there was a lot.
What's up? It's Pluto. Welcome back to Classic Reactions, where we get into classic hits that I've never heard before. So yes, today is Classic Reactions Interview Edition. We'll be getting into Then and Now, interviews of Brian and Roger. All right, you guys, so the first interview is from 1982. Let's get into it.
Gut. Und heute stehen wir waagerecht. Okay?
Gefällt dir soweit? Okay, can you tell us how content are you so far with the tour and how it's going so far here in Europe? What are your impressions?
It's been very good. Yes, we can't wait to get to Vienna. We will be hot by the time we get to Vienna. So watch out. It's been very good. We sold loads of tickets and we've had not many complaints. It's been good, very hot.
Yes, we have a new light show that we think would be interesting. It's been a long time since we've been to Austria, to Vienna, and it'd be nice to get back. You've missed a couple of our last light shows, but this one I think is the best one we've had so far. So we're still working it in. By the time we get there, it should be really working well.
Well, it was very impressive. Can you tell us how long you basically work on the preparation first before you put the stage show together like that?
About 3 minutes. No, actually, there's a lot of planning on the technical stages first, and we see sort of drawings, and which we sort of think that'll be good, and then they make models of the lights and things which we like, and we sort of work on it with our tour manager Jerry Stickles, and then they build the things in the end when we get to rehearsals, and then we try them out and see if they work.
They're still being.
I always love hearing more about their creative process. It always blows my mind how advanced they were back then.
Modified at the moment actually, because when this lot was first built they found there were so many degrees of freedom no one could really control it, because you've seen these things, they're like animals almost, and we had to do some modifications to the circuitry to make it so that one guy could actually control them a bit better. But they're very challenging because they can actually interact with the performers, so we're just getting used to them, as Roger says. It takes a while for them to get used to us and for us to get used to them.
Yeah. Because it's not standard equipment, it was equipment that we had specially designed for us, and these are the only ones that exist anywhere in the world, so it's quite interesting to work with new kinds of lighting.
It's now officially the 10th year of the band. Do you think that nowadays it's very difficult to stay together for such a long time as a band?
Yes.
It is hard, yes. It's very essential to stay together. I mean, the first essential of being a successful group is that you have to stay together, really, in a way. It sounds stupid, but that is something that a lot of people forget. Some people get to a certain point and then think they can do it on their own, and most probably you can't. And the only way we do manage to stay together, I think, is to keep the balance between us and know when to leave each other alone. So we're four very different people, and the differences become more apparent as time goes on. So we just kind of back off each other and let each other have their head in certain directions.
I commend them for staying together for so long. Even though they all branched out and did separate projects, they still were a collective and they had so much love for one another. I really respect that about Queen, because I understand that it must have been very tough for four strong personalities to really balance that out. So great job for, toughing it out, you guys.
It's a good question in a way, because it's a very simple but basic truth that a lot of bands don't seem to realise, and they do let their egos run away with each other, and after they have some success they tend to think, I'm too good for the group or something, and they go off and they want to leave and they break up, And it's very important not to do that, I think, and very few bands really manage to stick together for a long time. It's a good thing, really.
Do you think that maybe also the way that bands are together changed a little bit? Like maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago you were together all the time, and nowadays it's more like meeting each other for recording and preparation, and then everybody has time off. Is it more that the image of a band or the way a band works changed a little bit to the 60s or something?
It's difficult because I mean, when we started off, we were sort of virtually almost living together. But now we're working, and we weren't working that very much because nobody wanted us. But now, although we don't live together, we all live separately. But we're working so much, we see almost as much of each other as we did really in the early days. So it's different, but we still see just as much of each other. Really. It's quite sickening, actually.
It's disgusting.
What can you tell us about the new album, Hot Space? It will be out very soon here in the market. After having heard it once, we can all say that it's again different. Do you think it's something characteristic about your band that you're not always continuing the way it was on the last album or the last tour? Can you tell us something about that?
Yes, we do feel that, I think we tend to get bored with what we're doing before everyone else does, which is a good thing. So having done a particular kind of music, we tend to say, okay, done, let's try something different. And for this particular album, we had a lot of time. We gave ourselves intentionally about 9 months to do it in. And during that time, we recorded many more songs than we needed. And we just kind of threw out everything which sounded like we'd done it before. So everything on the album is very different, really. I think some people would be quite shocked.
Well, not all of it.
Well, most.
I mean, there are some things.
It is.
Shut up.
Sorry.
No, there are.
I love how they have the fun banter back and forth, and they don't take each other or themselves so serious. They're fun, they're serious, they're just dynamic.
Other odd things which sort of go back a bit.
Yes.
You know, which it's not all brand new, but a lot of it is very different for us. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question? The tour, yeah, the tours stay exactly the same, only better.
We just interviewed Mac, who is working with you for a long time, or for some time now. What's your impression on him? What do you think of him?
He's German. Oh, he's very excellent, and he was a big shot in the arm for us in the studio, because we just got to the stage in the studio where we thought we knew it all in a way after 8 years. Yeah. And we had our own methods of doing things. We always mic'd things up the same. And although the music was changing, the sounds were a little bit sort of static. And Mac really came along and changed everything. And he said, look, you don't do it like this. We can try it a different way. And we had a little bit of sort of friction. It was hard to work at first. But having got over the initial stages, we now have a much bigger scope. And I think we get much better sounds than we ever did.
Yeah, it's fantastic, actually. He's taught us a way of being simple again, if you know what I mean. And using the studio more efficiently. We really get on very well. We have a very good working relationship. He's a very patient man.
He's very good, yes. And probably the best guy. I mean, he has the best drum sound in the whole world, I would say. He has really a new technique with drums.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Which is hard to pin down. It just sort of happens. At least it appears to just happen, although...
Whereas everybody else uses 12 microphones, Mac will use 4 microphones and get a better sound, you know. Which must be good.
So do you think there's something like also the sound engineer has a creative function?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Yes, he thinks the same as us as well now. We think very much of that.
Yes.
Who is Mac?
It becomes a good unit, really. In fact, we think listening to our old records that the sound really sounds old-fashioned in a way compared to what we're doing now. And you know, a lot of the sort of standard American way to record groups sounds kind of old-fashioned to us now.
Yeah.
Just that there is a better way of doing it. Everything doesn't have to be EQ'd and made sort of over-sharp. Things can cut through with their natural sound. It sounds like a load of bullshit, doesn't it? But it actually works. It's very simple and it sounds good. What more can you say?
What do you actually prefer, working in the studio or being on the road? What appeals to you better or more?
Being on the road.
Yeah, I think me also, being on the road. If it's going good, you know. it gets very boring and it gets very tiring. You can see we're very flushed and tired at the moment. It is tiring on the road, but it's more fun in a way because it's more stimulating. You get more feedback, reaction. The studio is long periods of boredom and then just short periods of excitement when you feel you've done something that's good and new. There's so much work goes into each small thing. It's difficult.
Do you sometimes have difficulties in bringing the studio sound on stage?
Yeah, always.
And how do you work with that?
We don't really do that, do we?
No, that goes back right to the beginning. We always said that we don't really want to recreate the records on stage. We want the stage to be an experience in itself. And the songs are the same, but if they seem to demand a different treatment on stage, then they just get a different treatment.
I love that about Queen. I love that they gave you a different experience when you went to their concert or you watched their concert, opposed to just listening to the studio album. They always changed it up and gave you those small nuances.
We've made one concession on this tour, and that is that we have a keyboard player helping out the back line, just filling in some parts which we couldn't do, and that's helped a little bit in a way. But generally speaking, if you'd recreate a record on stage and nothing else, we think that's really hardly worth doing, because it's just like you might as well just play the tape through the PA. You know? So we like to make the stage performance something special which is never seen again.
Yeah. It's a different medium, you know. It has to be treated differently because the stage thing is like an experience, and it should be an exciting experience. Well, for us, we feel it should be an exciting visual and audio experience. And just to go on and try and sound exactly like the records is a mistake, I think. So we don't try and do that. We try and get some good feeling and atmosphere and excitement and ambience, I suppose.
Good let out, isn't it?
So it's a different approach, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think that the visual part gets more and more important nowadays?
Not more and more important, really.
No more than it ever has been. I think it's always been important, but people have spent a long time getting it right, really. You know.
We always thought it was, really. And when we started off, it was kind of unfashionable to think that way, and then it became fashionable, and then with the sort of punk and new wave, it became unfashionable, and I guess now it's kind of fashionable again. All these things go in cycles, do they not?
That's so true. Things really do go in cycle. It's literally like a cycle. We recycle old things to make them new again. New things go out of style, then it comes back in style. So Brian has a point there. Either way, that was Brian and Roger, you guys, in 1982 in Australia. They were on their world tour back then. You guys, let me know about that tour. Was it their third tour, their second world tour? Tell me more. All right, so now we're going to fast forward a little bit and get into the now with Brian and Roger. This is a recent interview behind the scenes of Bohemian Rhapsody movie or performance, I think. You guys, let's get into it.
We were a little reluctant in the beginning because, you know, it's difficult to make a film that would do Freddie justice. And what happened over the years, because it was suggested to us a lot, what happened over the years was that we realized if we didn't get involved, then somebody else would do it, and then you wouldn't be able to protect Freddie's kind of legacy, and so we got involved. Yeah. And it's a long journey. It's probably nearly 10 years that we've been sort of talking to people, getting things ready, trying to get things ready.
10 years. A work in progress, working on putting their life story together. That is crazy.
I think a lot of people, they think about Freddie, you know, the media tend to think, oh, flamboyant, whatever, you know, and they remember him for other things, and they tend to forget that he was a brilliant musician. I think the film does pay good attention to the fact that Freddie was a real great musician.
You guys, let's get into it. Brian and Roger still look really good. That's amazing. I'm so glad that they took care of themselves and they didn't let the rock star lifestyle take over them and who they were at their core.
We all felt we wanted to portray Freddie's humanity, portray him as a human being, like Roger says, as a musician. And it had to be truthful, and it had to be not too indulgent, and it had to be watchable. And I think Freddie would say, number one, it had to be entertaining, you know, and I think you have to laugh, you have to cry, and I believe people will do in this movie.
You guys, should I check out this movie? Where can I find it?
Casting Rami in the role of Freddie absolutely blew us away the first time we met him. We kind of saw Freddie in him, and we could sense his passion, and everything was put together around that, I guess.
Who was this guy that played Freddie? That says a lot that Brian said that he could see Freddie inside of the character or inside of the actor.
All the way down the cast and the whole production team, you feel this passion. They all felt it was something exceptional, and we felt like that visiting the set. There was an amazing feeling of kind of loyalty and passion to this whole teamwork.
They got very close to us, I mean, visually and as actors, and so it was, which made it particularly uncanny to watch for us. And after a couple of viewings, I mean, you just start to completely believe that, well, that was us. No, it's not. No, it's other people.
Yeah.
But, phenomenal.
Y'all, I have to check this out. If Roger and Brian is saying that it was so good that they almost forgot that it wasn't them, that says a lot, you guys. I gotta check it out.
We didn't get to see him in full shtick until that first moment when the cameras rolled on Live Aid. We both went down to see it, and it was, I don't know what the word is really, it just sent shivers up your spine, because the recreation was so perfect of the venue and everything about it, including the backstage. And then these guys come on and they are us. They plunged in the deep end. That was like the pinnacle performance they had to pull off right at the beginning of the shooting, which is tough, but they had it down. I find myself looking at the edits, you know, working on the film. I do kind of believe he's me, and I think, oh, what have I done there? Oh no, it's him. You know, like Roger says, it even suspends our disbelief, really. I love the way that Rami has captured not only Freddie's great power and ebullience, but also the sensitive side, you know, the vulnerability of Freddie, of which there was a lot. You know, he came from very small beginnings, as you see in the film. Something.
And in speaking, you know, the timbre, the tone of the whole sort of range of his voice is pretty spot on.
I love how highly they speak of Freddie.
It came later, I do know that, because it didn't have a title for a long time. We wrote on the box Freddie's Cowboy Song or something, you know, it didn't have a title. And I think we imagined it was going to be called Mama Killed a Man or something, you know, and Freddie said, no, I'm calling it Bohemian Rhapsody. We all went, oh.
He was an artist, you know, and he appreciated beauty, and he loved the ballet. I guess he wasn't really a mad opera fan, but you know, he did love opera and ballet and rock and roll and Jimi Hendrix and Aretha Franklin. You know, and anything that was really truly great. He understood. He loved Prince.
It's true.
You know, he understood serious talent.
And there you have it, guys. That was Brian and Roger, then and now. They still look amazing, and they're still representing the group so well. I wonder, is John still in contact with them? Do they still perform with John? I know Brian and Roger perform, but wow, you guys, great interview. This has been another Classic Reactions. Catch me in the next one.